And you never get to see the wonder. The wonder. See, because when we're brought up in this life, we're given a whole set of expectations that are guaranteed to fail. And as generators, those goals that are there in front of us and the dreams that are there in front of you, that the frustration just begins to develop. You take on all these layers of conditioning, start living out a life that's not you, where frustration is normal, where what you feel as a not self-incorrect generator is considered normal. It's a horror. Nothing is going to change on this planet until generators change. I can rant and rave till the end of my days, and I will. But this world will be changed by generators, no one else, one by one. The magic of that aura, the magic of that enveloping aura, when a generator is correct, that aura has an enormous impact. Well, the other side of that impact when they're incorrect. And it still goes back to the same thing. See, generators have to have, in a sense, more courage than anybody else, because if you don't surrender, you can't be a generator. You know, and every messenger, guru, teacher, has all tried to bring humanity to a recognition of what surrender is. But of course, it was always very difficult because they never had any mechanics. I mean, they didn't really know how it worked. They just had an insight. See, generators are designed to be surrendered beings. In the deepest sense of that word, no one else, in fact, is designed to be surrendered but generators. This is what you're here for. You are the ones that are supposed to teach everyone else.
I do find that whole thing very funny. And it's very true. This notion of generators being surrendered. For you see, as a generator, I have a fixed relationship with the prana of life, and I have my own specific pocket of this life force energy that is either here for certain things, and it's not here for other things. And it's not what my mind thinks it is. That's not what it's about. You see, my mind is naturally attracted to what I'm not, whereas my body will say yes to what it's here for. There's a deep distinction in there, and the surrendering to the body. I tell you what, it's been profound up here in the mind to cognize, to witness, to see that, whoa, I'm not who I thought I was. And yet, that's the most interesting thing I've ever seen, is to watch myself be surprised by my own behaviors and existence.
By your example, it is the very way in which you live your lives that influences the world around you more profoundly than you can imagine. You walk into the supermarket as a correct generator. What your aura is able to do to others. And it doesn't mean it's, in the moment and, you're a life force. You're perfect. This is the magic of being a generator. Like insects. No tomorrow. That's the mantra of the insect. No tomorrow. No tomorrow. No tomorrow. Let's see what comes. Nothing else. See, then you begin to see the beauty. You do. I mean, it really works. There are people who have been there, done that, know it. But boy, what a trip to shed all that crap that you've been given from the start to begin to see who you are. This knowledge is not for adults.
Just to add a little more flavor to that, to add a positive performance to this notion of no tomorrow. Because it's not about the fact that there isn't tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow will come and it will be today when it arrives. The key is right now, today. What is today bringing?
What a drag in my life to have to teach adults. Wow. I mean it. Deeply conditioned, fucked up, layers and layers of shit in your head. It's so amazing that any of you are here. Really, I'm impressed. It's for children. So they don't have to be messed up. So they don't have to wait until they're 40 years old to discover, oh, gee, something seems to be wrong here. You know? Maybe I should do something about that. What should I do? You know? Hard to change your life late in life. Hard to give up the habits. I know. You have to be deeply dedicated as a generator, as an adult, to really make that jump. See, as much as I thought it was easy, I know it's not. See, as a manifestor, to be alone is the easiest thing in the world for me. I am always alone. You cannot get into my aura. You cannot. I have no problem with aloneness. It's not about lonely. It's aloneness. Generators are not here for aloneness. They are here to take everyone and everything in. They do it without choice. They do it without thinking. It is their nature. It is their aura. And you see, in this knowledge, if you cannot stand alone, you're lost. It is only for you. It is not for anyone else. There is no one else who can discover who you are. No one. And there is no one who is going to understand where you are going, because you don't understand either. It's what's so beautiful about being a generator. You know, there's this cosmic innocence that's built into it. Truly, you're holy ones. I don't make that up, and people who know me know I don't use those words lightly. You know, you're here to be that perfect example of life. Not like us parasites that have to hook in all the time and hold on, and, you know, all us non-sacral beings. But then we end up being dependent on the world that you make for us. And we're not happy with it, you know? And of course, the dilemma is that human design is not messianic. You know? Out of 7 billion people on the planet, there's about 30 million that could grasp the possibility of what this knowledge represents, approximately. A percentage, by the way, that's never changed in the whole history of humanity. It's always the same fractal. It's always the same geometry. It's always the same old karma. It's like those people who have come up to me every once in a while and said, you know, I've been waiting all my life for this. Well, nice. Yes, I know. There are some of us who have been. But you see, you can't wait for anybody else to do this for you. You can't.
That statistic, that those numbers of millions of people he labeled out, is said to be a 4% of 4% of the population that can truly take the knowledge of human design and run with it in such a way that goes all the way through over to whatever the other side of this experiment is. And so if you're more interested in learning about that, there's actually somebody who's begun working on a documentary video series, or video itself, called 4% The Experiment. So if you want to learn more about that, feel free to go on to Facebook and look up 4% the experiment, you'll probably see what I'm talking about there.
It either gets to you and you experiment and you begin the process, or not. You know, I used to do these public introductory lectures. I was mentioning it the other day. I stopped a number of years ago in Vienna when I decided that it would be really a lot of fun to have a sword and cut off the heads of those people in the audience who I knew didn't belong there in the first place. And I realized that I liked the idea so much that I thought it was time for me to stop doing that. And you know, it's this thing I feel about generators after 20 years. You know? Because if you're not ready to become yourself, go elsewhere. Be not self. Join the rest of the zoo. You know, for me, none of this is personal. It's just about correctness. We live in a window in which knowledge has been given to us at the end of our time. This is not a place where anything is beginning. Don't you believe it for a moment. This is a time where everything is ending. It's why we have knowledge like this. It's why we can understand that the great homogenized world is going to move on and past us.
This is a funny place for me personally, because I would say that right there, this is not a place of beginnings. I would say that's Ra's bias coming through. That's his belief system, his interpretation. And my interpretation is much more optimistic. And so every single ending, as far as I'm concerned, is a whole new beginning. And so personally, I believe we have a bright future with wonderful potentials that may come about. And I'm going to do everything in my power to resonate at the vibration that allows me to experience the joys available in this life.
That most of humanity will never, ever, ever have an opportunity to understand what it is to be here and how beautiful it can be. This is not the planet of suffering. This is something I know. You know, this is our moment, us humans. This is our time to see the glory of what it is to be just alive by our own authority. Your authority. Generators have a deep habit of giving up their authority to everyone and everything. It's what they do. They give away their lives by giving other people power over their life. And whether that is spiritual, philosophical, whether it's governments, parents, children, it doesn't matter what the combinations are. We are not here. We are not here to live by anybody else's authority. You see, if you're a normal person, your life is ruled by many, many forces. And you bow your head to all of those authorities and you never live your life. Never, never. You see, when you find your inner authority, as a generator, when you trust response, to understand what that truly brings you in this life, it breaks the covenant with all of those forces that have distorted your life. It gives no one the right to judge you. It gives no one power over you. You get your life on your terms, your way. I bow down to nothing. Nothing. Long ago, I broke my covenant with gods and all of these things. I run the show. My authority. And when I say my authority, I'm not talking about the way I think. I'm talking about this thing, my spleen, that runs my business. I long ago gave up being concerned about how my life works. I get up in the morning. I seem to be alive. The rest is just watching. There is nothing else to do. See, I wait for that magic of the awakening of generator power, real power. The power that comes to beings who use their energy correctly. You get more and more and more and more powerful. There's this enormous resource in a generator. The fact of the matter is, generators don't even need to sleep. Sleep, by the way, is a luxury for us non-sacral beings. Thank God we get a break. That is, if you sleep in your own bed. You know? Generators. See, they're the only ones that actually have the power to get away from the program. See, human beings, in my Night Forces teaching, talking about dream ray, the program is designed recognizing that we're useless and incompetent, so they program us deeply while we're asleep. Generators actually have the capacity to bypass all that. I mean, the ideal of the generator, this perfect use of energy. See, that's what you're here for. You're energy beings. You are the energy beings. And so what you begin to see is that, when somebody comes up to you and says, oh, I really like you, and I would like you to come with me, would you? What you're really hearing from your vehicle, one way or the other, is whether you have the energy for it. That's all. Because it's all about your energy. See, there may be somebody and your mind looks at this person and says, oh, they'd be this and that, and this would be great, and that would be great. And what your sacral is saying to you is, no. We cannot handle this. This is not right for us. We are not going to be able to use our energy well. We will get no satisfaction. Thought that was cute. Mick Jagger, who's a projector, singing Can't Get No Satisfaction. He must have been raised by generators. No satisfaction. Because you don't use your energy correctly. I mean, this is what generators are here for. This perfect usage of energy. And the most important thing in a generator's life is, no, baby. No. Big no. Big no. Teaches your mind a really good lesson. Because you see, the mind doesn't care. The mind will think, this is really not a great idea, but shit, let's try it. It's the mind. It always sort of, yeah, but if we don't do it, then they're going to be upset. And, well, we might as well, and we'll get out of it later, and, and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. Instead of, no. See, if you're a generator, 30% of the world is trying to live off your energy. All those people who are non-sacral. I mean, if you don't know how to use your energy, you're going to be very, very, very useless. You're going to have your energy stripped from you. You're going to have your frustration multiplied. And how do you think people get you to misuse your energy? They tap into your not-self mind. Mind trip. See, it's not about no mind.
Yes, precisely. It's not about no mind, and yet the mind trip, the old school pattern, the way in which Ra calls the not self, is called survival. It's the survival program we inherited from our ancestors. And it was the way for them. And then we actually had an evolutionary leap occur. And things are different now. we have the chance to reflect consciousness at a higher vibration, at a different frequency. And we're no longer limited merely by survival. There are those of us today who are thriving magnificently. And their mind is involved in the process. It's simply not pure survival.
It's very important to understand that mind is a very beautiful thing. When it's your outer authority, I would like to think that I could be interested in what each of you would have to say to me in a conversation. It'd be nice to think that. I don't expect it. I don't expect it because human beings do not display unique cognitive expression. They don't. People talk in homogenized cliches. They just do. They don't really express their unique truth. You can tell. And yet this is the potential of mind, which is so beautiful, but mind like this does not emerge when mind is busy bean counting. What I'm going to do today and what I did yesterday and what am I going to do with this person and that thing and boom, boom, boom. There's no mind there. There's no beauty in that mind. This is a confused passenger. And they don't know what to do. So they try to look for some other confused mind to lead them. The blind leading the blind, as it were. Maybe I should just start smacking you. I mean, that might work. Oh, but there's certain things one could give a try to, you know?
If you have enjoyed the show and would like to learn more about how all of this applies specifically to you, then kindly refer to the link in this video's description, Private Consultation. Here, we can dive into all of the details together in a recorded call. May your signature vibration of satisfaction, success, peace, and surprise find you in a good way.